here. Okay, you guys, I'm going to want you to write on the top of page, this is page 31. I want you to write homework. Okay, and then on the next page, page 32, just write homework again. Now, I'm going to give you guys a handout toward the end of the period that looks just like this. And so this will be your, I guess you could call it your Friday worksheet. But I do want to go over it very quickly and then go on with the rest of the lesson that you guys can be working on. And whatever you don't finish in class, then it would also be considered homework. So it says features of a parallelogram. It says figures A, B, and C are parallelograms. Here's A, here's B, and here's C. Then it says figures D, E, and F are not parallelograms. All right, it says study the examples and non-examples. And it says, what do you notice about? And then number one, it says the number of sides that a parallelogram has. So you would look at A, B, and C and think about the number of sides that a parallelogram has. How many sides does it have? Yeah, I heard somebody say it here. Each one has 4 sides. There's the first one done for you. Then it asks about the opposite sides of a parallelogram. I'll let you guys think about that one on your own. And then it talks about opposite angles of a parallelogram. Well, this is what they're talking about, just to be perfectly clear. If I called this side A, and this was not side, but vertex B, or angle B, and C and D. So here's angle A, and that's what they're asking about at this last question, opposite angles. What's the opposite of angle A? Angle C. And so they're asking you, what could you tell me about, or tell them about, opposite angles? So sides, opposite sides of a parallelogram, and opposite angles, all right? And again, I'm going to give you guys a handout for that page that I will collect on Monday, because it'll be homework. Then it says find the area of each parallelogram. So here's something you could do, and let me get a straight edge here. And I've emphasized this before. When you guys redraw something, always use a straight edge. And so you can see that's what I'm doing here. So it's nice and neat. It's a little more precise, a little more accurate. All right, so on my transparent paper, I've redrawn this parallelogram. Now, if this was square or a rectangle, what's the formula to find the area of a rectangle? Area equals length times width. So if one side was 10 and the other side was 5, the area would be what? 50. 50 units squared. Okay. But, man, this is a parallelogram. It's not a rectangle. It's not a square. I can't just count them. I mean, what do I do with this one right here? It's just a small piece, and it would be really hard to do. But here's something you could do. And let me just show you here. What if I took the right side, I'm drawing a line right there. I took the right side of that parallelogram and I moved it over to the left side. So assuming I cut this piece off and moved it here, what do I now have? Yeah, it would look like this. Whoop, I went too far. Now, could we figure out the area of this rectangle? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Across the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's the area? Formula for area. I put it right there. Length times width. Length times width. 6 times 6 equals 36. What do I put? Units squared. Remember, you guys lost a lot of points for not putting what it was squared in another assignment we did a few days ago. So you can see what I did there. You can take some figures and reshape them so it's easier to figure out. All right, so there's that one done for you. I'll let you think about this one on your own. Now, this one I stared at for a while and really wasn't sure how to do that one. And I'm going to give you a clue if I can find my transparent paper. I don't want to have to redo it all over again. Is this it here, maybe? No. Oh my gosh, what did I do with it? Well, I may have to come back and show you that one. Oh, I wanted to put it in the video. Yeah.
Are you talking about figure A or B?
I was looking at B. I wanted to show you guys how to do that one. Well, darn it. Maybe I'll do a second video when I find my transparent sheet because I had already done one. So, but maybe some of you are smarter than me and could just figure it out on your own. So let's go on to the next page. I'm looking at page 33 here. Top of page 33. They're kind of showing you what I just did, and which is really handy here. And then this lesson summary, and I've told you guys this before. The summary is just that. It's a summary. It's talking about the lesson, and it gives you examples. So look at this opposite angle here, 45 and 45. Going back to this page here, opposite angles. And then look at these two opposite angles, 135, 135 degrees. Opposite angles, 27.2, 27.2. Opposite angles right here, 152.8, 152.8. So opposite angles, I think that should help you answer that question right there. And then it says there are several strategies for finding the area of a parallelogram, and they give you several examples. And again, this is just, it's a different figure, but it's doing the same thing I did. You're cutting off, and this one, it's the left side, and you're moving it to the right side. And then what have you got? You've got a square.
Or rectangle.
Okay, or a rectangle. And so they give you several examples for doing that. All right. Now look at this one here. This is a good example. I like this one. So here you had a blue parallelogram, and what somebody did is they squared it off. Okay. And then they figured out the area of this rectangle. Now, the next thing they did is they took those two end pieces and put them together, and you can see it right here. And then they subtracted this area. We'll call this one B, and we'll call this A. They subtracted A, subtracting B equals whatever it would be, which is really kind of convenient a way to do it. And that's actually sort of the way I solved this one, but we'll move on. So again, the lesson summary, they're not asking you any questions. They're just giving you some good examples here. And then a parallelogram, glossary terms. I want you to write your own definition. So here's the practice problems. I've got about 5 minutes left on my video, it says select all the parallelograms for each figure. Select all the parallelograms. And then it says for each figure that is not selected, explain how you know it's not a parallelogram. All right. So if you go back to that first page, this might help you out, but also you could look at, here's that definition of a parallelogram that would help you with writing down that definition on page 34. So just whichever ones are not parallelograms, explain why they're not. And number 2 here, they're talking about decomposing. Well, decomposing is sort of taking a figure apart and rearranging it, which is what I did here with this one. I decomposed the figure. I took off one part, added it to another side. So that's called decomposing. And so for number 2, it says decompose and rearrange this parallelogram to make a rectangle. Well, I think you guys can see what that is without too much difficulty. Where's my straight edge here? This is what I would cut off right here. That piece. My phone rang. Somebody loves me. And then I would take that piece on my transparent paper. Oh, this one's not going to work, I don't think. No, it's too big. Anyways, and just slide it over, and then I would have a rectangle. Okay. I think you guys understand how to do that. Oh, these are getting complicated. Look at this one. Find the area of the parallelogram. Well, that one's easy to do. It's just a small piece. Add it over there. Then it says, explain why this quadrilateral is not a parallelogram. Think you can do that? Find the area of each shape. Show your reasoning. Wow, look at these crazy shapes.
A ninja style.
All right. It does kind of look like it. All right. So I'm going to go look for my transparent piece of paper in a moment here. Excuse me. I'm recording. If you have a question, you raise your hand. All right. Real quick here, it says find the area of the rectangles with the following side lengths. So they don't show you a picture of the rectangle, but what is the formula for finding the area of a rectangle? Length times width. And just a real quick review. So we have 5 times 1/3. So just to remind you guys, if you multiply a whole number by a fraction, you turn that whole number into a fraction, and then you just multiply straight across. 5 times 1 is 5. 3 times 1 is 3. Now, we're not done, though. This is an improper fraction. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So how many times does 3 go into 5? How many times does 3 fit into 5? Once, and 2 is left over, and the denominator stays the same. So there's that first one, A, done for you. And so it says find the area of the rectangles. So what what measure, what is it, feet, centimeters? What is it? Inches. So the answer to A would be 1 2/3 inches squared. There's A done for you. Questions on that, anybody?
No.
Yeah, question.
Are these other pages homework also?
That was the last page.
Oh, you said 31 and 32.
Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a handout for this. And this is all, you can work on this today if you want. Well, you'll need to. Well, you've only got about 7 minutes left. And then these other pages. So this page here is homework. All that I just went over is homework. But see, the reason why I made a copy of this page, you guys, is because Monday when you come in, I could just say, give me this page that I'm going to give you. That way I don't have to take your whole math book, if that makes sense to you. Okay. All right, I'm going to end the video here.